Hello, everyone. This is Justin from Tame Type 1. Today we have a very special video. What we're going to be doing today is a video analysis of this episode of The Doctors, which seems to be some sort of health TV program where Dr. Saladino, you might know him as the Carnivore MD. He's um, been probably one of the more knowledgeable carnivore voices online for a long time. And he was interviewed on this TV show about 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago to the date. This was posted back on January 30th, 2020, before the pandemic, before people started freaking out about that, right? But this interview happened where they showed some couple, some girls that were helped by a carnivore diet after nothing else worked, and Paul Saladino was one of the people that got them into it, and so they brought everyone on, and it makes for very interesting content just to see how these doctors, these experts react to a knowledgeable man like Dr. Saladino. Now, you might be thinking this is late news, Justin. This happened 2 years ago. Yes, but I think it's a very interesting video. It really shows the dichotomy between people like me, the YouTubers, the internet voices, like Paul Saladino, and if I'm not comparing to him, he's clearly a lot smarter than I am, nonetheless, and the experts, the doctors. Really, you really get the whole scoop watching this thing. So we're gonna do a quick video analysis, and it's going to be some good content, y'all. Now, it's going to start with talking about the sisters. That's going to be a little slow, but once we get past that, then it's really going to get into the fun part. All right. But I want to give you the full context to say, so we're going to go through the whole thing. It's stretched into like 4 videos, which is weird. It's not just one big video, but I think I have the right order here. It's about 18 minutes worth of content, so it should be a good time. Let's get started.
Two sisters struggling with their health now say eating only animal products has eliminated their problems. Have a look.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashley. And I'm Sarah. And we are sisters, best friends, and carnivores. You might be thinking, what the heck is a carnivore?
Say what? Carnivore?
We only eat from the animal, so no grains, no vegetables, no fruit, no fiber. It might seem insane, but that's why we're here to explain to you how we came to this place. So
It's amazing that normal people watching this would see this as insane. But I'm watching this, and I've been basically eating this way for like 3 years. I just see a tasty plate. That's all I see. I see, wow, that's a those eggs and bacon. That looks pretty good. But normal people look at this and like, where's the toast? Where's the cinnamon roll? Uh, it's so funny to me, But this is the proper way to eat, and I'm glad these girls seem to have figured it out.
let's back it up about 6 years ago, where Sarah and I thought we were doing everything we could for our health, eating super healthy, eating a bunch of whole grains, eating our fruits and vegetables every single day, avoiding fats, and we just kept getting sicker and sicker. Constant
Typical story, right? You have all these vegans, these vegetarians, these low-fat dieters, and they try so hard to eat well, and I really feel for them because at least they're trying, unlike most people. And yet it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because they're not getting the nutrients they need from plants. There's too many anti-nutrients, there's not enough real nutrients, not enough bioavailability like there is in fatty meats like beef and everything else. And the so-called nutritionists miss this entirely and tell everyone to eat grains and low-fat milk and all this crap. And so they end up feeling like shit. Of course, of course. Very common story.
inflammation, migraines, chronic constipation, acid reflux, brain fog
Turn that back a little bit.
every single day, avoiding fats, and we just kept getting sicker and sicker. Constant inflammation, migraines, chronic constipation, acid reflux, brain fog, fatigue, pressures on my body, poor metabolic health, and we finally became diagnosed with undifferentiated connective tissue disease with symptoms aligning with lupus.
Yeah, so all of these things are very, very common outcomes of a vegan diet. And that might have been what these people were doing, what these two girls are doing. Unfortunately, it's very common for young girls trying to become healthy to try a vegan diet. And so often these exact symptoms is what happens. I have an entire playlist, over 100 videos, and I could add a lot more. You know, the videos around have grown, I just haven't touched it in a while. Over 100 videos where ex-vegans, different each time, are just talking about how the vegan diet screwed them up like this. And most of it's, again, inflammation, constipation, rashes, brain fog. Brain fog's a big one. You can't. It's amazing that the experts will say that's such a healthy diet when all that stuff happens and happens consistently. Any vegan that says they're doing it for more than a few years is either lying or they're fucking insane and they're not acknowledging all the shit they're going through. They're not telling you about it. That's how it is.
So we decided to go plant-based last summer. Vegan lifestyle absolutely works for some people, but for our bodies, it was not working. And we switched to a ketogenic diet. I mean, we're starting to feel better.
This is another thing too. Usually they'll go plant-based, and once that doesn't work, they'll go ketogenic. But probably, if I'm going to guess, probably more of a plant-based ketogenic diet because it takes a lot of people to really get out of that plant-based mindset.
But all of our symptoms still weren't resolved. So being the science nerd that I am, I just did a bunch of reading about carnivore and it all started to make sense. So I just jumped in.
There we go.
I really like the taste of raw beef. I love raw egg yolks.
Me too.
Love raw beef fat. As I go more carnivore, I actually crave this. Since switching to this carnivore way of life, all of the remaining autoimmune symptoms that we've been dealing with have been resolved. It's just been so empowering to be able to take back our
Like
health.
fucking magic. You cut out the toxins, the toxin stuff goes
Ashley
away.
now join us via Skype. Welcome. What do you guys eat in an average day?
We eat 2 meals a day. Typically, it will have some muscle meat, so any cut of steak is fair game. Then we'll have some organs, so whether that's liver or heart, and then a lot of animal fats, such as eggs and beef fat trimmings.
They're really into it. I need to eat more organs, honestly, but they're hard to come by. They're hard to make tasty. But I'm trying, guys. I'm trying. I really am.
I understand you guys also eat a decent amount of raw meat. Is that true?
We have had raw food before. I'm sure you've heard of steak tartare.
What? Raw meat?
But for the most part, we don't focus on raw foods. We cook most of our foods. We have had it before, but it's not our normal day-to-day. Yeah.
See, I cook most of my foods too, but by cook, I mean I take my raw beef patty, that's like a half pound in size, put it on the grill for like 3 minutes on each side, so it's kind of like cooked on the outside but totally raw on the inside, and yeah, that's my cooked beef patty right there. It honestly, raw ground beef tastes better than totally cooked all the way through ground beef. And I mean, everyone really knows this because no one really likes a super well done burger. And if they have a well done burger or well done steak, they put sauce all over it. Why? Missing something.
The symptoms that you were having, you felt that you were sick, you felt that you were off. You mentioned that you thought you may have an autoimmune or a connective tissue disorder. Tell us about the symptoms you had, when they started, and why you thought that in fact was what you had.
I do find it surprising that they're treating these people so well. Like they're not trying to call them crazy or anything. Now that's going to change in a minute here, just you watch. But I do find how well they're treating the couple of girls very interesting. They're not going to give Paul Saladino the same treatment.
I've dealt with chronic constipation since high school. So that was one of the symptoms that I was dealing with. It was common that I would go 7, 8, 9 days without pooping. So I'd also deal with bloating, indigestion, acid reflux.
Again, very common vegan side effects.
Raynaud's in my toes. I also was having chronic fatigue, brain fog, and then I had a lot of anxiety, which was manifesting as panic attacks and insomnia. So that's kind of like an overview.
Also very common among vegans.
Of the symptoms that I was dealing with. Yeah, and so a lot of Ashley's were going on under the surface where mine kind of manifested on my skin. So I would deal with what you call the butterfly rash on your face, so red inflammation along the nose line, and then rashes on my skin. So I would go out in the sun and develop a hive reaction almost. I had zero sun tolerance. It was really, really strange. Kind constant eye infections. So I thought pink eye was like a normal thing for people to get like once a month because it would just constantly happen to me. Dry eyes, dry mouth, swollen and inflamed joints. And then the reason that I actually went to the doctor to get checked out is because I had been dealing with like a lack of blood flow in my limbs for so long. So my lower half of my legs would turn like purplish orange. And so that's why I originally went to the doctor. And then that's when I got my blood test results, which showed elevated ANA, a low C3, and a few other things that were kind of pointing towards being diagnosed with lupus. But at the time, I didn't have the like perfect blood work for that official diagnosis. And this was all the original time I went to the doctor was probably what 2017, but these symptoms had been going on probably since 2012.
Again, a lot of this stuff very common among vegans. The rashes, almost all of it. And I find it very unfortunate that probably none of these so-called experts listening in will make the connection that, oh, all these symptoms disappeared when they went carnivore. What if the diet they were on, the plant-based diet they were on before, had something to do with it? They never make the connection, but it's everywhere. It's a consistent pattern. But you can't expect the experts to see it, you know? All right, on to the next video.
Sarah and Ashley have been working with Dr. Paul Saladino, who joins us now, also discuss
My
is
man.
internist and nutrition specialist, Dr. Melina Jampoulos. Weighing in via Skype, we have cardiologist Dr. Joel Kahn. And so
no.
I want to spend a little time digging a little deep.
They're bringing in the whole crew, huh? Dr. Joel Kahn, you know. Maybe you should spell that name C-O-N, Dr. Joe Kahn. Plant-based guru. Of course they're going to bring that guy in.
Deeper here into why this may be working for Sarah and Ashley, but more importantly, I just want to ask you, Dr. Saladino, when you're looking at this and you say, okay, all animal products all the time, that's it, nothing else. Why did you decide to recommend that approach?
So to be fair, when I first heard about this diet a few years ago, I thought it was a little bit crazy too. And what I discovered when I really dug into the research was eye-opening. It was so revealing. I think that some of the most eye-opening things that I discovered in my research was all of these toxins that are found in plants, from lectins, isothiocyanates, oxalates, polyphenols. All of these things can be triggering to the immune system by damaging the gut. And I think
this is all true. This is a truth bomb that these nutritionists probably never heard their entire time being nutritionists. Lectins, what? But it's the truth. That's really what's going on.
this is what's such a radical concept here, so that when we eliminate plants, we're eliminating fiber, and we can certainly talk about the lack of human need for fiber or the lack of actual medical evidence that fiber is beneficial for humans, but
Yep,
we're
no evidence
also
of it.
eliminating all of these potential.
The idea that you need fiber to poop is the dumbest thing ever. Why would you need more substance to be able to poop right? I mean, wouldn't it be the opposite? Wouldn't it, if you're clogging your gut up with all this extra fiber that you can't digest, wouldn't it make it harder to go to the bathroom? Doesn't make any logical sense. But, you know, none of it does, really.
Potentially damaging things that can cause immunologic activation in humans. And I think that's what we see going on here, is that people are, when they're eating a carnivore diet, and there are thousands of people doing this now, including myself, we get all of these nutrient-rich foods without any of the toxins found in plants, and we see incredible changes in terms of all sorts of diseases beyond, I mean, autoimmune diseases across the board are changing in a way that just is so striking to me.
Dr. Jampoulos, I will.
Pretty good starting off. He basically gave the full scoop, gave the whole roundabout, you know, bird's eye view. There's a lot of things you can go into detail about, but I think he did a really good job presenting carnivore in a way that should make sense to people who should be considered experts, but we'll see how this goes.
Allow you to respond.
I don't know what research you're reading, but there are literally thousands of studies showing the benefits of polyphenol.
I don't know what research you're reading. Just look at her eyes, dude.
Let's start.
Look at those eyes. Dude, she's wilding. That's like, she's going nuts over this, dude. She is not a happy camper. She can't accept the fact that there's something she doesn't know. Oh, I'm the nutritionist. I'm the expert. I know everything. And now that there's a man sitting next to her, telling her what's up, telling her the truth, ooh, look at those eyes. She's not happy. I know thousands of studies. Oh my goodness. No, you don't.
With
Let's
those
go back a little bit.
thousands of studies showing the benefits of polyphenols. Let's start with those, for example, plant-based nutrients in the diet. And specifically in terms of lupus, and these poor girls, if they have an autoimmune condition, could be eliminating foods that have been proven to actually benefit lupus.
It's like talking to a brick wall with these people, dude. First off, thousands of studies. There aren't thousands of studies to look at. And if there are, they're all shit. Almost every single nutritional study is garbage. Total garbage. It's based on food surveys. People lied on. It's not. It's like almost no real science in nutrition. It's almost all junk. You can tell when people like this freak out on you so much over it. There is some real science in nutrition, but usually it's a science that people like this lady don't want to talk about. They don't even hear about because it's not part of their Pfizer approved curriculum that they learn in college. You know, and it's so you can just tell how ignorant she's being. She just listened to these two sisters talking about they had all these symptoms of lupus. They started eating carnivore, and the lupus symptoms all went away. And yet the first thing she says is, "Oh, they cut out foods that are proven to stop lupus." How could she not put two and two together here? How stupid is this lady? She cut up the food. The lupus symptoms went away. Why'd you cut that food out? That's how you get rid of lupus. It's insane. It's like the results don't matter.
Plus, they're young girls. By eating such a heavy meat diet, they
My smile gone. Let's go back to that real quick.
they're young girls. By eating
Look at that. The smile just disappears when they realize what they got themselves into. This wasn't going to be a friendly interview, was it? Oh no. Oh no. You were just so nice to me, and now my smile's fading. Oh, jeez.
such a heavy meat diet, they increase their risk of premenopausal breast cancer by 65%, colon cancer. They're not worried about it now.
Colon cancer. Oh, colon cancer. Yeah. Because all the people dying of colon cancer are carnivores, right? They're not, fat people eating McDonald's fries and fried chicken and drinking soda pop and all this stuff, right? Of course not.
But this is a lifestyle they've set it themselves. If they continue this for the next 40 years, I can almost guarantee you that they will have colon cancer, and I pray not breast cancer too. I like the idea of eliminating.
They will have breast cancer. They will. It's guaranteed. The science says so. Oh my God. You can just tell Saladino's kind of enjoying this too. I'm not sure if he knew he was walking into a trap. Clearly, this is what this is with the guests they have. But it looks like he's heard it all before, so I'm sure he's going to be able to handle it well.
Eliminating toxins. I think, there's a lot of pesticides in foods, but the idea that the parts of plants that protect them against the environment, which is what you're talking about in terms of lectin and polyphenols, are somehow detrimental to humans. We're not plants. We don't live on air and water and sunshine.
Yeah, but lectins aren't for plants. They're for the predators that eat plants. And guess what? We have similar biological functions to those predators that this plant's trying to protect against. Duh. Two and two. She just can't connect the dots, man.
We're humans, and the polyphenols in particular have extraordinary benefits in terms of health. There's hundreds of studies.
I would challenge you to show me.
Oh, I thought it was thousands. Now it's hundreds now. Soon it'll be tens, ones, zeros. There is none. There's no real proof of any of it. There's food studies, which are bogus. And at best you find in a real study, like an actual experimental trial, you'll find barely any difference at all. And usually it's explained away by other factors. So
A single study that shows any harm from meat in terms of the gut that's interventional. So single study
terms of health. There's hundreds of studies.
I would challenge you to show me a single study that shows any harm from meat in terms of the gut that's interventional. So much of what we're looking at here with meat, it's been wrongly vilified. You're making these claims that meat is going to increase the risk of breast cancer or colon cancer. This is completely false and unfounded.
Yeah, you tell them, man, you tell them. Bring out the study wars. Now, here's the problem when you say, show me a study. Well, you're going to go back and forth. And it's going to be a pointless discussion because there's a study for fucking everything. Of course, none of the studies actually prove meat is bad. None of the strong ones, of course, but they'll show anything they can to try to prove it anyways, and they'll believe it's proof even if it's not.
Meat and animal foods are the most nutrient-rich foods on the planet that humans have been eating throughout our evolution.
I'm not saying meat is not nutrient-dense, and I'm not a vegan person.
To imagine that a food that has been at the center of our evolution throughout our...
I'm not a vegan person. Well, lady, the stuff you say logically leads to veganism. That's why there's so many vegans. That's why it's such a popular movement. Well, it's not that popular, but that is why veganism even exists, because the plant-based dogma leads logically to it. If meat is unhealthy and plants are healthy, then why shouldn't I just eat plants? You know? So don't act like you're not responsible for some of this, you dumb lady.
Path as humans would cause colon cancer, heart disease, or anything is completely evolutionary and inconsistent. And there is not a single study in existence that shows that eating meat at an interventional level is an increased risk of colon cancer.
There's not a single study with nutrition and
okay,
interventional
so what I
studies,
don't want this to become is a food fight.
Very hard to do. Yeah, very hard to do. So stop fucking saying these studies exist when they don't. Yeah, it's hard to do. Okay, then say I don't know. It's impossible for people like this because their ego's too large. They have a PhD. You can't have a PhD and not knowing shit, can you? They have to act like they know. They have to say, oh, we got all these studies. They know they don't. They know they're stupid.
Between you two, but what I would actually address is there are so many different theories on food. And I just cannot handle it when someone says, someone vilifies all fruits and vegetables, someone else vilifies all meats. What I do care about is long-term health.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, buddy. But too bad there's no long-term studies on any of the crap you're talking about. Let's move on to the next one.
Here's the beautiful thing. Unequivocally, people can have different diets and be healthy. There are people who eat nothing but plants, right? There are
Yeah, and they end up almost dying. Oh, I forgot to mention that part, huh? Yeah, you maybe should ask all the ex-vegans why they left. It wasn't because they got tired of eating plants. I'll tell you that.
People who eat primarily animal,
significant decline in health outcomes. And I don't know that anyone here is suggesting that a plant-based diet is the way to go, but what I am suggesting is that there are toxins in plants, that we do not need things in plants, and that there are no studies showing that meat is damaging for humans.
Pretty modest, honestly. He's being pretty modest about this. This is stuff that's hard to deny, you know, if you really look at the evidence.
Dr. Khan, go ahead.
I just want to say, unfortunately, it's going to be 10 to 20 years till we can really judge if there's actually ever a prospective study of more than 2 people in the 1930s, cancer and heart disease risks.
Oh, okay, so we don't know. But why is it that in all of your videos and all of your content, Dr. Khan, you say plants are the best? Oh, but wait. We don't have the data, do we, Dr. Khan? Yeah. When the carnivore says, hey, meat's good for you, they go, no, we don't have the data. But they'll go on and on about how plants are so great, and you need them, and you need this, and you need that. And oh, this is good for cancer, this is good for this.
These are slow-growing processes, and meaning it 1 week of a microbiome study, 1 year in a metabolic lab in the 1930s when they didn't know what high-sensitivity C-reactive protein is, are not meaningless, but they did not win the day today, and I know everybody knows.
Yeah, and food surveys are junk too, but you rely on that stuff, don't you, buddy?
That. The National Institutes of Health just gave the Cleveland Clinic $12 million of our taxpayer money to study the impact of meat on TMAO and the microbiome, because there are 1,000 studies that are indicating harm, and I am aware.
Yeah, let's just throw a bunch of money at biased and moral scientists who have a bent on proving how bad meat is. Yeah, that's really going to do a lot of science. Yeah, that's what it is. It's just money trading hands with a bunch of corrupt scientists who are totally fine with falsifying data to fit their narrative, and they have a ton in the past. It's nothing new.
World expert on TMAO, Dr. Saladino. Don't take me on this. You will not be happy. I
TMAO, what
will
the
not
who
be
cares?
kind. Wait 10, 20 years before
More like
you play with
LMAO.
this dangerous diet.
The reason this is dangerous is when people become so blinded by their
Well, how do you know it's dangerous? I thought you needed the long-term studies, right? What happened to that?
own personal agenda that they start vilifying everything else. So
Well, hold on.
personal
Let's go back.
agenda is
Let's go
when
back on
people
that.
become so blinded by their own personal agenda that they start vilifying everything else. So
You're right. Yeah, I do notice a lot of that. People vilifying other diets because they're biased. Where have I seen that before? Hmm.
I don't, Dr. Khan is a vegan, okay? I'm not. And so if Dr. Khan, if
Good
he
for you,
said
man.
right now that anyone who eats any animal-based products is jeopardizing their health for the rest of their lives, I would say, Dr. Khan, you're wrong. I'm not saying, like, in my opinion, I think there are people out there who include meat in their diet and do really well. But you cannot sit here and say that the best, like, if every single person in this room eliminated all fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds from their diet, yeah, you cannot sit here and look me in the eye.
Cackling ladies in the corner, of course. Dude, they don't realize how good they have at having a place, being so close to a genius like Dr. Paul Saladino. They don't know how good they have it. This is pearls before swine, dude. I feel sorry for Paul wasting his words on these people. And it's interesting, he says, "Oh, vegan's wrong, but you really can't say you should eat only meat. Why? Why? What's the difference? Why is one more ridiculous than the other than you? If you're so moderate, if you believe all foods, if you believe you need moderation, then why do you have this particular vilification of carnivore? It's because you're actually plant biased. That's why. It's like every other expert out there.
And tell me that we have data that we're not potentially ruining all of our health over the long term.
What I am saying is not that we should all eliminate all plants from our diet.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is I am bringing attention to the notion that fruits and vegetables contain things that can be harmful to humans. And in cases where humans are not getting better, we should consider a carnivore diet that excludes those as a safe option because there are no detriments to eating only meat.
So back to Sarah and Ashley, because this is important. I like the point you just made. I thought that was very valid. If you're Sarah and Ashley and you've tried every possible diet,
but his point wasn't,
and it hasn't worked for you, and over the short term you try something like this, who am I to judge them? They're doing well, but you are still in your 20s, and you do need to think about your long-term health. So I would recommend that you.
Why does it matter that they're in their 20s? Is he calling them stupid, naive? What is it?
You keep doing what you're doing for the most part if that's what you want to do, but do not listen to anyone who tells you that all fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, legumes, fiber is terrible for you because.
Well, if they didn't listen to him, then they'd still be in the shit right now, wouldn't they? If they listened to you, they'd still be in the shit, right? That doesn't matter, though.
Over the long term, you might be jeopardizing your health. You just don't know it.
I think it's fair to say, just like you're saying, some people thrive on eating no meat. I mean, that's great for them. Some people can thrive on eating all animal products. Who's to say?
We can get all the nutrients that we need as humans by eating nose to tail carnivore approach.
Yeah, and we have the blood work to back this up. Before we went this route, we were eating a very high plant-based diet, and we got blood nutrient panels that showed severe nutrient deficiencies.
You know, it's interesting.
I would argue, by the way, that no one can survive long term on a totally plant-based, no meat, no animal products diet. Maybe if you at least have milk and eggs in there, maybe, but it's not ideal. These vegans, they don't last for a long time, and if they say they are, they're lying.
Sarah and Ashley, when I hear your story, unequivocally, I think the way that you're eating now is probably exponentially healthier than the standard American diet. And 100%. I think that's important.
Well, did you listen to what they said? I don't know, during the last 10 minutes? They weren't eating a standard American diet. They were eating a healthy plant-based diet. But that's how these people are. They have to find a cop out. It's like talking to a wall with these people. They have to find some out. They literally just heard this couple of women saying, we were eating a healthy plant-based diet, we stopped, now we're better. And the first thing he says is, oh, well, if you're eating a standard American diet, they weren't eating that, you fucking bozo.
Important to note. I think when you look at the standard American diet, it's heavy not only in processed meats, processed foods, processed carbs. That's why we have seen an increase in obesity, inflammatory diseases.
They don't get it. Processed meats. No, it's not the processed meats. Although processed meats aren't the best food for you, it's the seed oils. Every single processed food, what ingredient do they all have in common? Seed oils. That's part of the processing. When you deep fry something, what do you deep fry it in? Seed oils. They just don't get it, man. They just don't get it. They're so blue-pilled. It's tough to see, but at least some of us know the truth. The seed oils, the refined grains, the sugar, you combine them all together, you have a vicious combo, makes you obese. All right, last one here. Now this is where things get absolutely nuts. So if you stuck around with me for this long, congratulations. Now you're in for the real treat. Okay, so let's get started.
Dr. Saladino, when you're recommending this diet, what risks do you discuss with your patients?
I don't think there are any risks to eating animal foods exclusively. There are no risks in terms of kidney function. There are many studies which show that high-protein diets do not affect kidney function.
Yeah, I just got my kidneys tested. Been eating meat-based, not totally carnivore because I'll have a vegetable every now and then. I eat glucose tablets when my blood sugar's low, so on. But, meat-based, almost all of my calories, 99.9% from meat and eggs and cheese and dairy and all that. And there's no sign of any sort of kidney damage at all. And, I wasn't even tested for being carnivore. I was tested as a diabetic who's had it for 15 something years. And yet no kidney damage. For most diabetics, they don't last that long without kidney damage. And yet me, the carnivore, does. Why is that? Good blood sugar.
There are no studies interventionally that show that eating meat is going to increase the risk of any single cancer. There are no risks to eating the foods that we have been eating as humans for our entire existence.
Yep, no risk.
As an attorney, I would ask you, you're a medical doctor, is
Wait a minute. As a what?
As an attorney.
An attorney? What's an attorney have to do with this? Is she like a doctor that says that she has a PhD in law? What does that have to do with nutrition? Oh, whatever. Let's go on.
I would ask you, you're a medical doctor, is that correct?
Absolutely.
And you are a psychiatrist, am I correct?
Right, I did a residency in psychiatry.
So what do you know about nutrition?
Where
did you gain your background in nutrition?
Listen.
Man, this one's going deep. Dude. Dude, she's starting the conversation just yelling like a nagging mom. What did you say? What did you mean? Dude, my goodness, she's coming in hot.
Listen, this is, I think...
No, you listen to me and answer my question. Now I'm asking...
No, you listen to me, young man. Yo, holy crap.
You to tell us where your background emanates from.
Where my background emanates from? Who cares? He's clearly smarter than you are.
I went to medical school, and I studied nutrition in medical school, and I studied nutrition independently. One of the crazy things about medical school is that it teaches you how to read articles. I'm a doctor. I know how to read articles.
So have you done any independent testing? Have you written any articles that was as suggested by the physicians who've been here today?
What does writing articles have to do with my knowledge of nutrition?
Well, because
True. Very true. You don't have to write articles to be smart. In fact, most people writing articles are idiots, and that's why the field of nutritional science is a junk fest, circle jerk, because everyone writing articles is insane lunatics who are either paid off or who are ideologically biased towards veganism.
By the physicians who've been here today?
What does writing articles have to do with my knowledge of
Well,
nutrition?
because I could become you. I could be you as an expert because I read all of the data and all of the articles on this subject. Now I'm an expert? That doesn't make me an expert.
I could be you. Yeah. No, you can't, Sweaty. Don't even think about it. You know, Paul's really being very polite, and that's probably a good thing. You know, I looked down at the comments earlier, and people appreciated Paul Saladino remaining keeping cool during this whole interview, despite getting attacked left and right by everyone else. But if someone acted this way, this tone with me on TV, nonetheless, when you're supposed to have a little bit of decorum, I'd have some choice words. You know, I would say something like, "Okay, miss, no, you wouldn't be like me. You can't do what I do because you don't not have the intellectual curiosity needed to do your own research. Clearly, you don't do your own research. If you did, if you had an open mind, you wouldn't be using that tone with me." And I mean, look at this lady. Does she look like the pinnacle of health? No, with those fat cheeks. Absolutely not.
Proper background and with the medical training, like medicine needs to think about teaching doctors more nutrition in medical school. But it is up to us to educate ourselves. Just because there's a degree that says a doctor doesn't mean that we have or don't have medical nutritional knowledge.
The bottom line is you practice psychiatry, am I correct?
I practice medicine.
You practice psychiatry, is that correct?
Yeah, you practice the law. What the hell are you doing here?
Medicine.
So what makes you an expert in this?
Because an expert in what? An expert in understanding human physiology? This is medicine.
You notice the audience clapping like this? You could tell there's a sign in front of them behind the stage. Like in a lot of these Hollywood studios, you've probably seen it. It says applause when you clap, and it says, you know, when you they have to have one of these behind them.
Separation of humans into organ systems doesn't serve the patient. To say that because I'm a psychiatrist, I don't know about nutrition is a completely...
I didn't say that.
That's
you are saying that, actually. You're saying exactly that.
Expertise
That's what you were
mind.
inferring. Well, where does the inflammation come from that causes depression and anxiety? It comes from the body. It doesn't come from the brain.
It's a scary thought process. That is all you need to do is read articles to make you an expert.
Yeah, and all you need to do is jump through a few hoops, fall asleep during class, barely pass through school, and pay someone $100,000 for the privilege, and now you're a fucking genius, right? Yeah, no critical thinking in this one, at all.
I want to know what kind of testing you've done, what kind of data you have, what you yourself have found.
You want data? You're talking to two girls right now that are the living proof that this stuff works. What do you need? They're telling you their experience, and that's not enough. That's how these people are. Show me the study. Is this some science? Dude, whatever happened to real life? Whatever happened to living in the reality and seeing what happens to people and judging based on that? Huh? My goodness, these people are insane.
Regarding these issues,
I'm not sure
other than what reliance is on other people's
I'm not sure I understand your question because that's how
You don't want to listen to my question because you know I'm right.
No.
Don't want to listen. You're the one not listening, lady. My goodness.
Oh, you're wrong.
May I ask you a question? What?
Yeah,
when
you're
you
wrong.
talk about the animal diet.
Wait a second.
When you
I
talk
need to
about
be given the floor to respond to this. This isn't fair.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, it's not fair. You fell into a trap, dude. You thought you were going to come onto this interview. Well, I'm not sure what you thought, Pa Saladino, but you know, you come on this video with these two nice ladies, thinking, oh well, we were asked to do an interview. This is great. Well, we're going to share a diet. You didn't realize that they came to smack you down. They didn't come to interview. They came to bitch and moan at you and try to make you look like an idiot. Thankfully, you are a very smart man. You have a very calm demeanor. You're able to handle these people well. But, you know, never... I mean, in the year 2020, 4 years of media frenzy over Donald Trump and everyone else, and if you don't get at this point that the media is a propaganda arm and they're not about the truth at all, then I don't know what to tell you. But maybe Paul knew that coming in. Who knows? I can't read the man's mind.
Right? Anyone gathers data by reading articles. Anyone gathers data by learning. What you're suggesting is not a fair criticism of me.
I'm a board-certified physician nutrition specialist.
Right.
I'm a board certified nutrition specialist. I have a PhD and an ABC, DEF, EG, blah 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 blah. Yeah, and how many people have you solved lupus for? 0. Paul Saladino solved it for thousands of people. Scoreboard.
I have been practicing nutrition exclusively. I'm trained as an internist. I was originally board certified in internal medicine. I have spent 20 years. You've been dallying in
20 years and all these credentials, and what has it given you? How many people have you actually helped? How many?
this for a few years, reading articles. I've been doing it, working with patients. My oath is first do no harm. And I am not a plant-based person. I don't advocate only plants. I think meat, I think there is nutrient density. I think getting rid of the processed foods and the toxins in processed foods, that's what's damaging the gut.
Study that meat is dangerous.
Show me the study that broccoli is dangerous to lupus.
Okay, wait.
Do you need it? I mean, you have the example right in front of you. You notice how they've ignored these girls for this entire argument? Why aren't they like asking them any more questions? Oh, it's because it's inconvenient to, right? Inconvenient to ask the people who've lived the experience that they cut out broccoli, the lupus went away. You don't want to talk about that, huh?
Hey, I will show you the study.
Can you please just provide the next?
Can you please have a little bit more decorum? How about that? Why is no one stopping this from turning into a shouting match? Like, is no one interested in civility here except for Dr. Paul Saladino?
Name of one reputable medical journal that supports the meat diet. That's what they are asking.
Right.
Thank you.
So in 1930, there was a study published in the British Medical Journal of a year-long investigation of 2 people in Bellevue Medical Hospital who were eating an exclusive carnivore diet. And during that period of time, these people experienced no negative effects, no dangerous changes in blood pressure, kidney function. They only experienced good things, a little bit of weight loss, and came out of the study saying that they felt better than when they started. So there have been prolonged, detailed studies of a full carnivore diet.
That's a 1-year study from.
It's amazing how much this guy's know. He was literally an encyclopedia, dude. You know, smart man. But of course, none of these people will recognize it because they disagree. So automatically, he's insane.
1930.
Of 2 people.
Has there been any?
You didn't say when. It's from a real medical journal. It's a real study. Hey, are your studies any better? Food surveys? No. So shut up.
Things since 1930 with more than 2 people.
And you notice the lack of curiosity here. Like they don't think to ask, well, how did that happen? How did they go all that time without any vegetables? What's up with that? What caused that? There's no wonder, there's no curiosity, there's no asking why. It's just let me find a way to dismiss this.
There was a study at Harvard done looking at the carnivore diet with regard to gut flora. And so they put people on a carnivore diet for 1 week and they looked at changes in gut flora and they didn't
Watch this. They're going to say, oh, 1 week. Watch.
see any change in the microbiome in terms of alpha diversity. There was
1 week. Literally, there are.
Yep, there it is. And look how he puts his hands up like this. He just has to physically emote his distress and his confusion, and you know, he's doing that for a reason. He's doing this to signal to the audience that, oh my God, this is insane. This guy's nuts. But really, he's just being immature.
There are thousands and thousands of studies that show the benefits of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and we're not saying.
Keep your hands to your side, dude. I mean, maybe you're trying to keep your head from falling off or your imaginary retard helmet from coming loose. I don't know, dude, but act with some manners, man. Come on.
Meat's bad for you. I ate meat last night, but you keep getting back to no one is saying meat is bad for you. What we are saying is if all you eat for your whole life ever is just meat, that's not good.
He can hear you, man. You don't have to yell. What the hell are you doing, dude? These people are nuts.
I'd be a doctor. I'm just like I'm blown away right now.
Yeah, and you should be blown away. You should ask yourself why you're blown away. You should have a little bit more curiosity, man. But no one has any curiosity more. No one wants to look deeper into things anymore. At least not these experts. You know, we have the open-minded people here watching this who are open-minded and they're researchers and they look into this stuff and they're curious. But these experts, they're in this mindset that they know everything. that there's nothing they don't know, that they are the experts, and if there's anything that disagrees with their worldview, it must be wrong. It must be crazy. That's why these experts are total lunatics, because of their ego, because their big PhD is giving them this giant ego. They can't see, they can't see the forest for the trees. They can't look at the results of their failed work. That lady, 20 years in the hospital, in the field. What has that amounted to? How many people have you really helped, like Paul Saladino has helped these women? How many women have you seen, like those two, that have a miraculous recovery just from changing what they eat? Just from going from whatever they're eating to a plant-based diet? Doesn't happen. Never happens. And if it does, it doesn't last very long. That's insane, What an interview, dude. Dr. Paul Saladino really came out on top on this in that he kept his cool. He knew exactly what to say. He had all the studies. He really did his homework before coming here. Now, I'm not sure if he knew walking in that this was going to be a trap. Clearly it was. They had an entire panel of experts that hated his guts come on and tell him he's wrong. Jill Khan? Really? Dr. Jill Khan? Yeah, let's bring one of Dr. Paul Saladino's biggest critics to contest him. And everyone else too. You know, I guess what you have to expect from normie doctors, dude. This is why I never talk to doctors about what I eat. I don't care to, and they don't care to hear it. And if I did, they'll just give me a hard time. And you know what? It's not worth it. It's not worth trying to convince people who are already convinced. I make these videos not for the experts who are coming in with a giant inflated ego, thinking they're the shit. I'm making this video for the people like you who are seeking to find a better way to eat. I make my videos because there's diabetics out there that are lost. They don't know what to do, and the doctors aren't helping them. The PhD, 20 years, blah blah blah. People like that lady are useless, worse than useless even. They're giving them all the wrong advice, and they come out looking for answers, and I give them those answers. I'm not here for the experts. I wish the experts would do their job. I wish Dr. Paul Saladino and others didn't have to, be on the edge like this and be on the fringes. But unfortunately, the experts are all wrong. That's the world we live in. The science is biased. And this is one of the things I got mentioned too. The reason there's not a lot of studies about carnivore is because who's going to fund it? Is Pfizer going to fund it? No. Is Harvard going to fund it? No. There's very few studies on carnivore and also very few studies on low carb for type 1 diabetics because these scientists are biased against the idea. They don't even want to try it. The people who fund the research don't believe it could even work, so they don't even try. That's what it is. And they've done all these studies on saturated fat and on meat being bad and blah, blah, blah. And guess what? They come up with nothing. They come up with junk. They come up with little slivers of difference between the meat eaters and the not meat eaters. And that's because there's no truth to the claim. But they keep studying that rather than studying carnivore because they have an agenda. It's not about finding the truth, it's about pushing the narrative for these people. And that's what this show is too. This show isn't about, revealing a new way to eat that's going to change people's lives. No. This is about vilifying Dr. Paul Saladino. This is about making him look bad. This is about dismissing the carnivore diet rather than trying to promote it. Doctors, yeah. Doctors like this are the reason people don't trust doctors anymore. People like that lawyer lady. She's not a doctor, but she might as well be the way she reacted. People like that is why people go online and listen to me. Because they failed. They failed at their job. They don't know what they're doing. They're hopeless. And because they failed, they turn to people on the internet who aren't doctors, like me, to tell them how to manage their diabetes and how to eat and everything else. And Paul Saladino. Thankfully, we do have some actual professionals like Dr. Paul Saladino on our side. We're not a bunch of kooks over here. We actually have some researchers doing the stuff, but I wish it didn't have to be this way. I wish I didn't have to make these videos, and I wish Dr. Paul Saladino didn't have to, be on the fridges on his YouTube channel, Dr. Paul Saladino in a better world would be the top nutritionist, would be, the expert that the governments of the world would rely on. He'd be a household name like Dr. Fauci, you know? If you instead had Saladino in the place of Fauci, we'd be in a lot better position as a country right now. We'd be a lot healthier, we'd be a lot skinnier, we'd be a lot less fat. But instead, we don't live in a meritocracy, we live in a aristocracy. We live in a system run by money, by politics, by bias, by all sorts of terrible stuff, and so the truth doesn't get out there. But thankfully, you, dear viewer, were able to tune into this wonderful program. I know it's been a long one, but I hope you had a really good time here. I sure did. I had a wonderful time. I need to do more of these. If you think so too, let me know down in the comments of this video. Be sure to give it a like, share it around with some friends, share it around with some carnivores. I'm sure they'll appreciate this take too. And again, let me know if you like this stuff because I had a good time doing this. Anyways, y'all keep taming your type 1. You carnivores out there, keep eating meat. It's good for you. Healthiest food on the planet, as the amazing Paul Saladino would say. You all have a good night, okay?